that had a lot of interest over on my Instagram stories. And the question was how to talk to kids when they say they don't want something. And instead of saying, I don't like it, or do you like it? Instead of asking, do you like it? Because that's too easy for a child to say, no, I don't like it. And I'm looking across here because I'm across multiple platforms. So instead of saying, do you like it? Say something else like, what did it taste like? And so somebody had suggested that. And then I had polled the question, what will you then do if your child says it tastes yucky or gross or they don't like it? Okay, so I want to talk about that to start off with, because I always want you to walk away with actionable tools that you can put into practice right away. So first of all, chuck out the phrase, do you like it or did you like it? Because it's not serving you. It's not serving you in any way. It's too easy for your child to say no. So instead, you can ask a more open-ended question like, what does it taste like? Or what ingredients do you think are in there? Or some of the other things that people had put in there was, is yours crunchy like mine? Is yours really soft? Is yours sweet? Is it juicy? Like, use all these great descriptive words. I've talked about this a lot. They're across all my channels, some of the different things that you can use. And if you haven't already downloaded my free phrase guide, go ahead and do that. Okay, so the next thing to think about is, so you've got a child who has said it tastes yucky when you've asked them what it tastes like. So how do you respond to that? Here's how I respond to it. I will tell my kiddos, what does yucky mean in this situation? Because yucky is not descriptive. And I like to give the example of, remember that time you ate a raspberry and you told me that it tasted like dirt? And I said, oh, you want to know why it tasted like dirt? It had probably spoiled. And I said, if you had just told me it tasted yucky, we wouldn't have known that it had spoiled because you didn't give me enough. You didn't give me enough information. So what I really need to hear from you is, what was it that you didn't love about this? Was it that it was too crunchy? Was it too sweet? Was it too juicy? Was it too something else? What was it about it that you didn't love? And then from there, what I like to do is encourage, what can we do to it to make it taste a little bit tastier for you? So, for example, I'll give you an example from this morning. My oldest daughter had a meltdown because she did not want oats this morning, and oats were what was on the menu. We had oats in several different ways. We had them frozen, we had them cooked and hot, and we had them overnight. And she really told me she didn't want them. And so I asked her, what can we add to them? We already had fruit. So I pulled out some peanut butter, and we agreed that we would add the peanut butter to it. And the other thing was, we put a topping of a different cereal on the top so that they could eat it together. And so right then and there, we've allowed her, or your child, to help problem solve this situation and come up with something that will work better for them without you having to change the meal. Because, like, there's no way I'm going to go and make a separate meal, and I don't want you to be making a separate meal either. In fact, I just wrapped up my last group coaching call for the group that is just finishing now. This is the March coaching group. And one of the mums was there saying, like, we do pizza night, but my kid doesn't eat pizzas, and I'm making a grilled cheese sandwich. And I said, well, we're not doing that anymore. That's just not something we're going to do anymore. There's no separate meals. That's not what I want you to be doing. All right. So if you have any questions, pop them in across all the platforms. I'm going to take a look at them. Oh, there's a comment here that says, hi, you've helped me so much on YouTube with some questions. Nice seeing you. Oh, thank you. And thanks for being here. I am also live on YouTube right now. Hello, YouTube. Okay, so I started telling this story yesterday on my Instagram stories. And so recently, I had to buy a new microwave, and it was not a cheap microwave. I wanted to buy one that was also a convection oven, an inverter, which helps it if you're defrosting something, it'll help it defrost more evenly and prevent, hopefully, like, massive splatters if you're warming stuff up. So yeah, I had done this research, and I bought this microwave, and it wasn't a cheap one, and I was looking forward to it, and I bought it, and there it goes. I'm using it, and it's a couple of weeks in, and I am noticing very slowly that sometimes when I close the microwave, the button doesn't always come all the way out. You know, if you've got one of those push button microwaves. And sometimes when I close the door, the button doesn't pop all the way out, and then when I push it, it doesn't always open the door right away. And I'm like, oh, maybe it'll get better. It'll be all right. Like this is a good microwave. Like surely, like it'll just get better. And I like played around with it for a while. I pushed the button a lot of times and was hoping that it would kind of just fix itself. And obviously it didn't. And we're going on like 3.5, 4, maybe 4, 3 weeks at this point. I don't even remember. That's the thing. I don't even remember when it started to get sticky at that point. And so my question was, what does that have in common with picky eating? And I'll tell you what it has in common with picky eating. It creeps up on you ever so slowly, to the point where you didn't even realize that it was becoming a problem. Because at one point with my microwave, I went back to it because I was going to warm something up, and the door was closed, the button had not completely popped out, and the light was on inside it, and the microwave was very hot because the light had been on for like an hour. And I'm like, what is going on here? And so when you've got a child who's a picky eater, like this type of thing, it's rare that you wake up one morning and your child is just like not eating anything. It happens slowly over time, and you don't always notice it. Like sometimes it's like maybe it's one food, maybe it's this, like the microwave door doesn't close every 50th time, so you don't really notice. It's not such a big deal. But then like it starts to happen more and more frequently, and it becomes more and more problematic. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck with this microwave. The door doesn't shut properly and it doesn't open properly. And that's kind of like where you are with a picky eater after like years or months or 6 months or weeks, or like me, 5 weeks, 4 weeks with this microwave that wasn't closing properly. So I want to know, can anybody relate to that? Because I thought it was like a little epiphany for me where I'm like, I bet this is kind of like a real life, like it is a real life situation happened to me. And I've spoken with enough parents that have picky eaters to know that this is the type of thing that doesn't happen overnight. And for some parents, they wake up after like 4 years and they're like, I don't know how we got here, but here we are. Okay. Somebody wrote yes. All right. I have about 5 more minutes, and I'm going to answer some of the questions. If you're on Instagram, actually, I think, thanks, by the way, for whoever shared the live. Share, tap, like, that'd be great. Helps more people enjoy the live and get the answers. Okay, I'm going to try this on TikTok. I'm opening, it's my Q&A. Oh, hang on a second. Questions. Okay. Encourage viewers to ask questions. You can also let viewers know they can like questions they want to answer. Okay, so TikTok people, can you see the question? Is there like a question thing available now for you? I'm not sure if it's the question thing on my profile or not. What's this lightning one? Oh, no, I don't want to do lightning. I'm not sure. Okay, just put your questions in. I'll see if I can answer them. All right. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Yes, there is. Okay, great. Oh, hang on. Someone put this in, but it's nothing. So I'm just gonna like switch. There isn't another question. I'll just remove it. Sorry, I'm learning. There's like a whole bunch of new stuff on TikTok over here. Okay. If you're on Instagram, can you put your questions in the little bubble with the question mark in it? Because that way I can tap it and bring up the question for everybody else to see. Okay, but I'm just kind of scrolling back for a second. Would you suggest there's a situation where a child doesn't like what's made for dinner, like pizza that you were talking about? What would I suggest? Would always suggest having a reliable food. My son pretty much refuses anything other than pies and chicken nuggets. He has a masto. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. Should you increase the time you allow for meals if your child starts shoving food so fast they can choke? Okay, if you're still on the live, how long are you allowing for a meal right now? Why are they shoving the food in? That could be more of an underlying situation. All right, I'm just going to like rapid fire answer here. What do you do for children who don't like certain textures of food? Continue to expose them and give them opportunities to try similar textures with different flavors. So, for example, like meat is one that comes up frequently. Um, Meat, have they tried steak? Have they tried a chicken wing? Have they tried a chicken leg, chicken breast, like minced, like a meatball, or minced in like a sauce, like a spaghetti bolognese? There are many ways to skin a cat when it comes to something like meat. There are so many different options of the spices that you cook them with, the method that you cook them. Are you stewing the meat? Are you making it into a ball? Are you baking it? Frying it? Is it minced? Is it in pieces? Is it shredded? Like, there are so many different ways that you can offer that. Underweight per doctor, any suggestions? Yeah, I do have suggestions, but it's not really something I can or should advise on a live like this. I would suggest that you speak with, it doesn't have to be me, but a dietitian that can help you. Depends on how old your child is as well and what they are already eating. But if they're picky, that's the thing that you're going to want to work on, because it's not about just getting calories in. I've worked with clients that have had kids that are underweight, that they're giving them like Ensure and all that kind of stuff, but that's not helping them with the underlying issue of the child's not hardly eating any food. We don't, like, it's not a long-term solution for the child to only be eating Ensure. What do we do about green veggies? Hide them? No, don't hide them. Okay, I'm tapping on this one. I'm currently discussing this question. I do not want you to hide them. I've got a lot of videos about this. I've got one specifically on YouTube about hiding veggies. If you type in hiding, it should come up. I've also got a bunch on TikTok about not hiding veggies. And the reason is you tell me. The reason you don't hide them is why. We've talked about this. Is your child going to learn to like them if they're always hidden? The answer is no, they will not learn to like it. So, no, please don't hide them. It's a condition where his body makes too much histamine and he vomits a lot, so he doesn't like things he vomits. Okay. Look, that's a really specific problem, and there's an underlying medical condition there as well. I would definitely suggest you speak with a dietitian about that. You got him to eat applesauce. Does he know there's applesauce? Oh, I'm getting a phone call. I'm going to have to call this person back. All right, like I said, I've probably got like 1 more minute, so I'm going to answer one more question. Okay, let's have a look. See. Whoops. Thanks for the chat. Daughter is 22 months old, and some of her favorite foods are becoming a no-no. Example, she loved all kinds of eggs and now only eats hard-boiled. What's the right way to approach? Well, continuing to offer, for sure, in multiple different varieties. So not just hard-boiled. As with hard-boiled, you can cook it so that it's slightly less hard-boiled and slightly, ever so slightly soft in the middle, and continue to offer it in different ways, and offer it mixed into other things. So, for example, smashed on toast. So if it is a hard-boiled egg, you can mash it on toast. So it's not just the egg as a plain egg, it's egg on something else. You can maybe mix some avocado into that, put some pepper on it. There are all kinds of different ways to continue to expose. And your daughter is right there at that age where the picky eating can become problematic. It tends to happen between sometimes it's 6 to 18 months, but I usually say it to me, in my experience with the clients that I've had, it's typically somewhere between like 14 and 18 months. And so if you're in the 22-month period, you're kind of in that zone of like, with the microwave door, right? The microwave is starting to get sticky and you're not noticing that it's getting bad, or it's like, I can still live with it, it's fine. And it's not until it's gotten so bad that it's like at every meal that you start doing something about it, which makes it's most likely going to be like months down the road when you've already dropped a bunch more safe foods or like reliable foods or typical foods off the list, which is going to make it more difficult to reverse the problem. So I've got one of my clients in my group. I've got some older kids in this group, 8 years old and 7 years old, and the problems that they've been problems since the kid was this young. But because they didn't, it's not that they didn't do anything, it's that they approached it in a way that was bribing, and it made the picky eating worse. So the sooner you can get started and make a change, the better it is for you and the better it is for your child, because it doesn't allow them to continue to drop foods off their list, and it means that you stop being so super stressed. So if you're getting started this early, like really early, I would totally recommend my Mealtimes Without Meltdowns course. It's online. You can find it at the link in my bio. It's called Mealtimes Without Meltdowns. It's when I say face to face, it's not just like a recording. It's a video so that you can see me like I'm talking to you now, so that you can get a really good idea of like tone and how you're going to speak to your child, and the facial expressions, because those all matter. Those are all communication, and there's a lot about communication in the courses, because communication is very, very important. How we approach things, how we talk about them, the phrases that we use. There's phrase guides in there and everything. And powerful mindset exercises to help you shift your mindset so that you can be really confident implementing these changes. All right, that's all I have time for today. This has been really like it wasn't as interactive as usual because I went live a little bit later, and I think a lot of people in the US are already like in bed and asleep. But I hope you found the first part particularly very helpful, where I talked about that's yucky, and what to say instead of I don't like it. So if you have more questions, if you're interested in coaching, I do have a small coaching group that starts in less than a week, 2 weeks, less than a week and a half, something like that, mid-May. There's one spot left. If you're interested, go to the link in my bio and check it out. And I will see you on another live. Thanks for being here. Bye.